what keeps you awake at night?
Sea levels are rising globally.
Fears fueled by horror stories.
Among the worst flu season in a decade, and it hasn't peaked yet.
We all know the atomic bomb is very dangerous.
Another series of deadly terror attacks.
I don't want to be blamed if you cannot get to sleep tonight.
Alrighty. We're all good. We're all set up. Everybody's recording. Yeah. Okay. Welcome to Things That Keep Me Up at Night. I'm
Hello.
Olivia.
I am Brooke.
I'm Bree.
Woo! We did it! I'm so proud of us. Oh, man. I'll tell you, we just spent like 45 minutes getting this set up, and I could not be happier. It sounds so great.
It does.
Bree doesn't sound like she lives in a tile store.
Yeah, we finally found out why she sounded like she lived in a tile store. Apparently everybody knew but me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why don't we tell the lovely people why you sounded like you lived in a tile store, Bree?
Because I recorded in my living room one time.
Yeah, well, I'm never going to let that shit go because I just got a lot of comments on it, so...
I recorded in my living room one fucking time, and it was an echoey house. I don't know... Okay, so listen.
Bree, I am directly referencing the fact that you have donut glaze in your speakers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's because I work at a donut shop, and I decorate donuts from 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. And I literally just sometimes get glaze in my phone, which is a normal occurrence.
Okay,
and
but
so maybe
for weeks I've been like, I don't understand what's going on. You know, like, Bree's audio quality is so consistently worse than ours, and we record on the same device. Like, what is happening? And, for this whole time, I've just been operating under the assumption that it's just the world hating Bree. No. Bree has fucking frosting in her phone. Neat.
Yep.
we're not all perfect, all right?
We can't all be like
Get out
me.
of my ass.
Well, my whole thing is, this is it. The reason why our voices sound so lovely and beautiful is because of the fact that we're recording with new microphones that we bought off of Amazon for too much money.
No, they were so cheap, Bree.
No, they were nice.
No idea.
No, they were nice. No, and it's just a lot of money for me. Anything over $20, I'm like, can I take this financial risk?
Agreed.
So,
big mood, big fucking mood.
But
we're
our
not
voices
the big
sound
time
pretty.
Podcasters.
Now we're gonna be with the big boys. We can.
Yeah, I definitely use like $2 bar soap to wash my body. So this was a.
Absolutely.
I don't want any fucking comments about soap residue or how much it's gonna dry out my goddamn skin.
No, wait,
I get it.
But listen to this though, right? One of my favorite drag queens, Katya Zamolodchikova,
Wow, okay.
her whole bit is that she's a Russian drag queen. So she uses just basic lotion not lotion, not even lotion. It's Dawn dip dish soap.
Whoa.
To remove her makeup every night.
That's what they used to get oil off of small animals, right?
Or I think she uses some form of Dawn. I think it's meant for skin, but and she says it works and her skin is flawless. She's she's a 40-something-year-old man now, I believe, so, or maybe late 30s. I'm so sorry,
Skin
Katya. You look young, you look beautiful. I love you so much.
No
she's
matter
listening.
What age you is.
She's listening. If she even if
God,
I got the
wouldn't you
pleasure to
just
speak
die?
in front of her, I literally, if I saw her in person, I think I would just cry. I saw Trixie Mattel perform live in Portland, and I was crying as I was singing her album with her. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
She's cute.
Okay, speaking of
Crying?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
We're talking
Segues
about
are hard.
Segues are really tough. We're talking about customer service horror stories.
Sure are. Welcome to our second mini-sode, bitches.
I am literally so fucking... if you haven't worked in customer service yet, fuck off. Just because there's some people I know that have never worked in customer service, and then whenever I tell them stories like they're like, oh my god, like that's insane. And then anyone that has worked in customer service is like, yeah, that sounds about in line with how I view the public.
Yeah, well, because how long, okay, so basically I've been working in customer service since I was 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
How long have you been working in customer service, Olivia?
Since I was like, I feel like I was 14.
Okay.
I was 17 or 18 at the time, I think.
Dopey dope.
Yeah, so we've been working in customer service for a few years. I've worked multiple jobs. It is soul-sucking.
Accurate.
To say the least.
So, yeah, we thought it would be a good bit to just do a mini-sode on just, like, awful customer service stories. So that way, like, one, we can all relate. We can all talk shit. But two, that way we can also just let people know, like, hey, people who are serving you food at minimum wage don't necessarily want to be there. And you telling them minuscule things that don't even matter about your experience there, or just giving them a hard time, you don't need to do that. These are people. They're not here to serve you just to be your service people. Like, they're here to serve you. I don't know what I'm saying. Basically, what I'm saying is, I don't know.
Abuse customer service
nice.
people.
Yeah, just be nice. Don't be a
They're
dick.
human beings. They're human beings.
I would say like 9.9 times out of 10, the complaints I get are stuff that's completely out of my fucking control.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
the worst.
Like, can you please perform a complete policy change because I find it annoying? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I just fucking work here. You know what I
Or
mean?
like,
$10 an
can you
hour?
change the prices of your menu items? And you're like, no.
I don't.
I
fucking-
can't.
That's not my
Yeah,
job,
that was
sir.
the craziest thing. When I was working at FedEx, I would like read off from a computer the shipping prices, and they'd be like, "Is there anything you can do for me?" And I'd be like, "Fucking no, I can't."
I can't
Jared.
do a goddamn thing.
I'm
You know
reading
what,
this
Jared?
off of a fucking computer.
Jared, I don't like your attitude with me today.
Actually, you know what? Now it's $150, Jared.
No, because I'm feeling it. We have some. I rewrote some questions so we can like go through. Just have a little fun.
Hell
The
yeah.
first question is, what is the first customer service nightmare that you can remember? Now I'm going to qualify this. I have been working since I was 14, so I'm not really quite sure if this is like the first one that happened, but this is the first one I remember happening.
Right.
Essentially, I worked at a deli that shall not be named because I have zero positive things to say about it, and I just don't want to deal with the repercussions of that.
Right.
Ooh, wow. Okay. Nope, I just thought about something I'm not going to worry about until I edit this.
Olivia's having flashbacks.
Yeah, might be. So I remember very clearly, I was 14, so I had like never really dealt with like customers like trying to scam people, right?
Oh, yeah.
So essentially like you could deliver stuff to people that ordered, and I delivered a thing of chili, and so I got a call from the lady saying that she had found like a screw in her chili, right?
Oh my god.
Right. And so I told my boss, and she went, nah, I'm not going to let her pull that shit on me. And she went and like got the bowl and essentially said, no, I'm not going to give you any fucking money. It was a very lax atmosphere, to say the least.
Yeah,
but,
wow.
Essentially, like when I delivered the food to like the place that I was delivering it to, she had fucking screws everywhere. Like, I don't know any environment where we would have had screws, like, in our shop.
Yes,
So
sis.
she's-
Actually, this is part of our secret patented recipe. Screw salad.
We put screws in all of our food.
Gives it a nice
Right.
earthy texture.
Oh my god, yeah. So that was like, and what I found really interesting too is like she had finished the entire thing.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if you're like, hey, there's something that shouldn't be in here. Like, I bit into it and I would like something back, but like the whole fucking thing was finished. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, of course.
get fucked.
Oh my god.
Yeah, alright, so that is my first one that I can remember. So,
Yeah, the first customer service story that comes to mind it's not the first one that happened, but I had just started working at FedEx. I couldn't have been older than 18, 19.
yeah.
And yeah, this guy came in. He was probably like early 70s, early to mid 70s, and he wanted to make copies of this form that he had, and that's, it's easy. I just go and put it in the copy machine and whatever. And I helped him do the self-service thing because it's cheaper, and then I walked away, and he came back and asked for my help again, and he was so distraught, and he's like, this isn't right. It's not lining up the way it is on the original sheet. And I was like, well, yeah, it's not going to be a perfect copy. It's just a photocopy of it, unless you like hand place it on the glass and like trial and error it. It's not going to look the way it looks on that sheet. And he was like, okay, I'm just going to keep trying. And then like 10 or 15 minutes later, he came back and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it keeps cutting off the edges. And for all of you people who aren't familiar with printers, most printers can't print to the edge of the page. There's like a little bit of a margin, like maybe a quarter inch of a margin. So what he was trying to do is he was trying to make a perfect copy of something that had like lines that went all the way to the edge. And he seemed disproportionately upset to what was going on. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't help you. Even our printers in the back don't do that. It's just the way that it is. Because if it printed to the edge of the page, ink would get everywhere. And he like got really upset, but like sad upset. And he's like, this is for my medical procedure thing. And I'm in a free clinical trial, but if I don't have this filled out exactly right the first time, they're gonna discontinue my medication, and I'm not gonna get my medication. And I was like, oh my God. And like I looked at the page and he had like filled it out, but he had like just gotten a couple of things wrong, and he had tried to scratch it out, and it said on the page that if there was anything scratched out, it would be like void. And so what he wanted to do was like white out it and then copy it and try again. And it was heartbreaking. It was the worst. And it's not even, it was like, at first I was like, okay, buddy, like what the fuck is going on? But like, my story is an indictment of the U.S. medical system as well. So beat that.
I didn't know that was the fucking topic today, but yeah.
Sorry, pals. Like, it's just always the first one I think of. It was so awful. Like, he was just distraught because he couldn't do what he needed to do. And he's like, and there's this seal in the top, and it's cutting off the seal. And, like, we worked for, like, an hour trying to get it where it needed to be, and it was almost right. But, like, I didn't see him again after that, so I don't know if it ever got fixed.
That's rough.
It was rough. This is not a fun one.
Bree, lighten up the mood a bit.
Please do.
Okay. So I don't remember my exact first customer service story nightmare, but I remember one that the first one that I guess stood out to me was when I was working at a Mexican food place as a hostess. And as part of my job, we would have to hold the door open for people whenever they'd be coming in or leaving. Mm-hmm. And it was just like a nice thing that we would do for people. And so part of our uniforms, what I would have to wear was I wore a black button down, with a pencil skirt and black tights, and then black shoes with a tie.
Right.
Which super cute.
Yeah, style.
Nothing cuter than a woman in a tie. Am I right, lady?
Yeah, it was so gross. And so I was just so frumpy and just like this teenager just in high school just trying my best on this tie, like, dilemma. It was just awful. And the tie was also like plaid, so it was just gross.
Yikes. Plaid ties.
Oh, it was gross. So
Walked
anyway,
right out of a 70s porno.
Oh, it was just like literally
but you're
like
the businessman.
But no, yeah, it was the worst. It was just so awkward. But so I was holding the door open one of these days for this man and his family, and the man, I want to say, was like 70 years old, and it was him, his wife, and his daughter. And his daughter was a little bit older than me. I think she was like 20 something. So his wife and his daughter walked out, like, linking arms, and it was really cute, and they walked out together. And then the dad, was kind of trekking behind, and as I was holding the door open for him, I said something like, "Oh, you have a good night, sir." And he just looked at me and looked at the ground and went, "I think you dropped $1." And I went, "What?" And he went, "I think you dropped $1," because I was genuinely, like, I thought he was trying to help me out. And I don't have pockets in my skirt, so I knew I didn't drop anything. Also, I don't carry money with me at work because we don't get tipped as hosts, so, like, there's no reason for me to carry money on me. It's in my purse in the back. Yeah. And so I was like, "No, sir, I don't think I did." And I looked at the ground, there was no dollar there, and he goes, "Oh, well, it was worth a shot," and then proceeded to look at my ass, shake his head, and then walk away.
What the fuck?
Customer service.
I was 14 going on 15, maybe 15.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That is disgusting.
Yeah, his wife and daughter were feet away. So that was, like, my first experience where, like, I stopped and I went inside and I told, like, the servers that I like, and they're like, "You don't ever have to deal with that. Like, we're so sorry." And I was like,
Yeah, wow. I don't even
I'm
have
a child.
words for that.
Yeah.
There's so much to unpack there.
Oh,
Woo!
that's
Awesome.
a tame one, Brooke.
Wowzers. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
We're going to ramp it up, and we're going to ramp it up with our next question. What is the most annoying thing to be asked by a customer / is there something you'd get asked, like, way too much? I think, and this is something that, like, Brie can relate to because we've worked in, like, fast food and shit like that.
Yeah.
Asking me any question that could just fucking be answered if you just looked at the menu. You know what I mean? Which is, like, generally right next to me. You know what I mean? So, like,
If you
when I
look
worked at
an
In-N-Out...
inch to the right,
just
you could literally see the menu pricing.
God!
Dude, my answer to this question is exactly the same.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It is so infuriating. When I worked at the deli, people would stare at the menu for like 5 ever and then just come up to me and go, "So what do you have?" And then, which was maddening. And then it just got worse at In-N-Out, which, like, for anybody that doesn't know what In-N-Out is, we literally have 3 fucking things on the menu.
5
and it's
items.
Burgers, fries, and drinks. Our menu says it's as easy as 1, 2, 3, and we have 3 combos.
It says
and people
it's
would
easy,
come up,
and it is.
and people would come up and they'd be like, "So, do you guys have like chicken?" And I'm like, "Does it say that we have chicken?
Deborah,
Wait, I just
does it
look
fucking
up. I
say
look up at the
chicken?
menu. Oh my god! Some dude came up to me and was like,
God.
"Do you have fish here?" And I was like, "No." And he went, "All right, thank you for your time," and then just walked
He left.
out.
Dude, that is fucking Googleable. There is no excuse for this. No
And then,
excuse.
like, my favorite one that just, you know what, this one fucking every time this blew my mind. People would walk up to me. I worked at a coffee booth this summer, and it says at the front of the stand right above my fucking head, "Espresso on the go," right? And people would walk up to me and go, "Do you have coffee here?"
No.
Like,
Get out of my shop.
Are you joking me?
Christ on a crutch.
Yeah, that's like the one where I literally want to die every single time somebody asks me a question like that.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Yep, mine is. I never worked in food service, but it's the same everywhere. And mine was generally prices, where like people would walk up with an item that had the price pasted to the item itself. And be like, "Can you scan this and tell me how much it is?" And I'd be like, "Absolutely not, but you can read it with your eyeballs." Like, are you fucking serious?
Oh my god, I fucking
You can't say
adore
that. You gotta take it out of their hand and point to it and say, "It's $20, sir. Have a nice day." And then swallow your tongue and die. Like,
And then they get. Have you ever
God.
done the thing where you'll like point something clearly obvious out to someone, and then they'll get mad at you? Okay, so like
yeah, they
my
get like defensive.
right, my story behind that was the time that someone went up to the counter and asked. Okay, so I used to work at a sushi place, and we would have like like menu items that like chicken katsu or whatever, and like sometimes people haven't heard of that, which like I really don't understand, but all right. And so like one time this woman was reading this stuff off and was like, udon, like what's udon? And I was like, well, the description's right under the, you know, the menu item, bitch, but all right, let me read it off to you. And so then like,
I would
you know,
love
we were
to
having
hear you
that-
just say that once to someone. It's on the fucking menu, bitch.
I would love that. I would literally
would
kill for that.
pay money out of my paycheck to do that once a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But no, and so like, and she was asking all these questions, and she goes, all right, and so is med drink, like, is that a special menu item?
What?
And I went, med drink? What could she possibly mean? And I went, we don't serve that here. And then I looked and I went, no, ma'am, that stands for medium.
Oh god, my brain.
Fucking cry. Are you
My
joking?
brain hurts.
No, and she went, she looked and she laughed and she went, oh, well, I guess I could have figured that out myself, couldn't I? And I went,
At least she
Yeah.
said that. My god.
Oh,
and then she
Special item menu?
she ordered a chicken bowl with veggies and a large Coke, and then walked out of my shop and drove home, which I was concerned about, honestly, but you know.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I love that shit. Well, I'm glad that we all have, like, this. Brie, was that your same answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I can't just read the menu.
But
Yeah,
it's
just
all.
read it.
That's the thing is, it's the reason why I wanted to make this my specific answer was because it happens across jobs. I've never had a job where this hasn't happened for food
Yeah,
service.
100%.
Because like it happens at my job that I currently work at, where someone will be like, what donuts do you guys have? And then I'll point to the display case.
Well, we have a
And I'll
magic
go,
menu.
These ones. And they'll
Yeah,
go,
no, my-
okay.
Yeah, my favorite too is like, and I've literally never worked at a job where they haven't asked that. They just walk up to you and they go, so with like, what do you have here? And like you give a general answer where you're like, oh, like we have like hot drinks and cold drinks and blended drinks, and all of them are listed on the menu right there. And they're like, okay, can you name like all your blended drinks for me? And I'm like, are you
This is a fucking pop quiz, bitch.
illiterate? Are you fucking illiterate?
I mean,
Literacy
they might
in this
be-
country
hey,
must be just...
Olivia, check your fucking privilege. They might be illiterate. That's ableist of
Oh my god.
Jesus.
If you can't read the goddamn menu, I swear to God.
you. Why do you have a credit card, ma'am? Ma'am.
I'm gonna
How
shuffle.
did you apply for this, miss? Let's move on to number 3 then, because I feel like we're segueing beautifully into this.
Yes,
What
we
is
are.
the stupidest thing you've ever seen a customer ask/do? Now, I have quite the one that is just so permanent in my mind. So a lady had come up to me and she said, can you do a sugar-free soy blended latte? And I went, yes, but I'm gonna let you know, like, when you don't have sugar and you don't have dairy, it doesn't blend very well. Like, I don't know what science is behind that, but it essentially separates. So you have ice chunks and you have, like, the liquid. And so every time anybody ever asks for that, I always tell them, okay, but this is going to be the result. There's nothing we can do about that. Are you sure you don't just want an iced drink? Right? And she went, no, that's totally fine. Like, I just can't have any dairy. And I'm like, okay, I'll make you a sugar-free vanilla soy blended latte. Make it, hand it out. She takes a sip and she makes a face. And I'm like, well, I fucking warned her. This is not my job. And so I start making another drink. And I turn around and I realize that she is adding a shitload of sugar packets to it. Not sugar-free sweetener, but sugar packets, right? And not like one and stirring it. Like, I see at least 4 or 5 sugar packet wrappers, next to the drink. And so I'm like, that's, interesting, but okay, this is, again, not my job. Hand out another order, keep going back and doing stuff. Then I look back and somebody had walked up to her, I assume somebody in her party or something, and they said, like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, I don't know, it's just, like, not sweet or, like, creamy enough. Which I always think is such a weird comment to make about, like, a blended latte. Like, people are always shocked it tastes like coffee.
Yeah.
Like, don't order it if you don't like coffee. You know what I mean?
Yeah, coffee's bitter. Newsflash.
Then she grabs our half and half container and pours in like a good amount of half and half, and
Point
then
of
looks at her
reference.
friend and goes, yeah, it's just gonna have a little bit of dairy in it. And I'm
Oh
like,
my god.
dude, do you know that's okay? And then I turn around and she goes, excuse me, can you add some soy milk to this? And I'm like, thinking in my head, you've already added half and half. Like, it's not, it's, the deed has been done. You know what I mean? And like at this point, she'd added so much shit to it. It was no longer a blended drink. Like it had completely melted and just become an iced drink, which is what I offered. But like that's what's so interesting to me. She specifically asked for it to be sugar-free and with soy milk because she told me she could not have dairy.
Yeah, wow.
But
And it would have been fine
both.
if she had just let there be milk in it.
Yeah, or like even if I said, I said like, do you want it iced? It'll come out better. She said no, and I said okay. Well, I just want to ensure that. That's just the stupidest thing because like, I don't know, man. It's wild to me. I think about that like every night. Brooke, do you got one?
I do, yes, of course I do. So my first job, I worked at Designer Shoe Warehouse, DSW for short. And this I think was the highest concentration of middle-aged lady bullshit I think I've ever seen. Very specific. But
Big mood.
yeah, really. I had just started working there, so I was still at the training store. And this woman came in, and there's a strange thing that happens when someone is intending to steal, where they talk to everyone. And I don't know why people do this. Maybe it's specifically a shoe store thing, but I saw this several times while I worked there. But this woman was especially insane about it. She went up to every single person who worked there and just, like, chit-chatted with them and, like, tried to gain their trust like it was some crazy espionage movie. And, like, we were all standing there like, well, this never happens, so she's weird for sure. And, like, she like, proceeds to walk around the store and just sort of browse. Yeah, she like starts trying on shoes, and we're like, that's normal, suspiciously normal. And and as she starts walking out, like an hour and a half later, we realize that she's now wearing a hoodie that she didn't have on before. And we were like, okie dokie. And she does this crazy thing where, like, she's walking out and then she, like, starts talking to my manager.
Yeah.
Who is, like, this is the worst part about this. He couldn't say anything. Like, you can't accuse a customer of stealing. And I know that at FedEx that wasn't so much the case, but at least at this kind of retail store, our policy was to just be so overly helpful that they felt bad about themselves and put the stuff back. But we couldn't outright say, hey, we know that you have like 6 pairs of shoes under your hoodie right now because it looks like you've got knives sticking out of your jacket. Like, we had to just like stand there and talk to her and make her feel really bad about what she was doing. And she didn't.
Did she put it back?
She just like was super obvious about it and adjusted her sweatshirt with all of her loose shoes in there and walked right out of the store. And then she had her face pasted on our back room forever, because she got herself on a list because she was very very obvious. She came back a couple times, but yeah, it was just the craziest thing. I had never seen someone steal.
Like, did they escort her out because she had her face in the back?
Yeah, I think I didn't see it, but they kept an eye on her and then didn't let her like walk around for an hour and a half the way she used to. We had a couple people that were like on a list. We had like a couple that used to do it together, and they would tag team it, and like one person would watch the employees, and then the other one would like steal shoes, and then they would leave together. It was crazy. I had never seen people just so openly steal before. Yeah, a regular crime duo. God.
Yeah, they say Romeo and Juliet. I say the couple that stole shoes from DSW. Am I right, ladies?
It's the same. That is still a better love story than Twilight. Haha. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brianna? Brianna?
I've had a lot of people say some stupid shit to me.
Yeah. What's your, like, number one?
The one that there's two that are tied for first place. One of them was the man who ordered 20 beignets at my job. And as I was making him his beignets, he decided to give me a history on beignets, which was not remotely accurate. Because I knew the history of beignets because I went to culinary school for 4 years.
Right.
So I knew, like, what's going on. Also, like, I make beignets every day. And all while explaining the history of these beignets to me to weirdly impress me, he also said beignets as bagnettes.
No! I knew it! I
I love
fucking
that.
knew it.
I'm so into that. 100%.
Oh, God.
But the one that will always stand out in my mind is one that I was there to hear and witness, but I was just going on my break. And basically what was happening was my manager, my boss was like, all right, Brie, you're on your 15. Here's your food. Like, have fun, enjoy your time, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I was leaving, and this woman, as I was grabbing my food, she was coming up to the counter and ordering for my manager. And he goes, hi, ma'am, you know, like, how can I help you today? She goes, hi, so I need a chicken bowl, a veggie bowl, and then I also need a beef bowl with white meat only.
Huh. Well, I see one problem with that.
So
It's the veggie bowl, isn't it, right?
no, the
beef bowl?
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. I was like, Olivia.
I love
and then
that
my
shit.
boss went, no. And she went, what do you mean, no? And then my boss went, you can't have a beef bowl with white meat only. Like, that's
can't.
impossible. And then she was like, well, explain to me, like, why? And he was like, because
That doesn't exist, man.
that
real.
animal doesn't have what it's only and like, he just
It's
looked at her.
red meat. It's definably
Yeah.
red meat. My
And
God.
she was like, well, that's what my son said he wanted over text. And he's like, is it possible he meant the chicken bowl he wanted white meat on? And I just, like, walked away at this point, just laughed. I just
Goodbye.
could not believe that a grown-ass woman thought that beef could come with white meat only.
That's something else, man.
It's
That
so
is-
hard because, like, I want to judge her so bad, but, like, is it really her fault that she didn't know that? Like,
I
just-
would love to believe that her son is punking her.
I thought so too. That was what I was thinking.
No.
Oh my God.
I love that.
Sick prank, bruh. Oh my God.
Well, then to transition to, I think, my favorite question. Have you ever had a customer service story where you look at the situation and you, like, all you can do is ask yourself, is anyone else seeing this shit right now?
Yep.
Like, you just really, it just complete sheer disbelief.
Yeah.
Mine, and this is pretty recent. So a lady had come up to us, and the first thing she asked when I said hello, and she didn't respond, which is great. I'll just go
Fuck me, I
myself.
guess. Yeah.
She said, "What brand of water do you have? Like bottled water?" And I was like, Crystal Geyser, I think, which is a question I think is so weird because I don't understand, but okay. And so she said, okay, I'll take 3 of those.
Okay.
And I'll take 3 cups of ice. And I'm like, oh, ma'am, actually, the bottled waters actually come from the fridge, so they're already cold, which is really common. Like, people assume it's going to be warm, right? So we always clarify.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And she went, no, I don't want it for the bottled waters. I want it for this. And she just fucking Mary Poppins a massive 1-gallon water bottle out of her purse. And I'm like, oh, well, we can, like, fill that with ice for you. And then I look at the opening and I realize that the opening is too small for our ice, right? Like, we have kind of sizable ice cubes, and hers is, like, the size of, like, a Gatorade bottle opening, right? And so as I say that, my manager had put the water bottles on the pickup window, right, which is kind of next to her, and she individually leans over and takes each water bottle one by one instead of responding to me. And then I go, so... And she looks at me and goes, okay, well, can I see your ice? As if I'm, like, lying to her, right? And so
Oh
I'm
my
like,
god, that's my
okay.
favorite question. Can I see your ice?
Like, as if I'm, like, keeping the secrets of the ice to myself.
Oh my
and I'm
God.
like,
You caught me. I just want to hoard our fucking ice. You gotta have that ice.
Sure, ma'am. And so I grab, like, a little bit of ice. I deliberately get the biggest ice chunks that I can to just end this situation for myself.
Yeah.
And so I give her, like, a small cup of ice, right? Maybe, like, a 4-ounce cup of ice. And she takes the ice cube and she tries to fit it in, and it doesn't fit. So she uses her hand and she smashes the ice cube into the water bottle. And then repeats that with each individual ice cube in the cup.
Whack-a-mole ice into her bottle?
Yeah, and she's
No.
just individually, one by one, just putting them in. And I'm just kind of, I look at my manager and I look back at the customer, and a good, like a full human minute passes, right?
No.
And she holds the ice cup and, like, assesses and goes, okay, so the ice fits. And I'm like, well, fit is a very generous term, but okay.
We have
and she
different
goes, so,
definitions.
right? And so and she kind of looks at it and she thinks and she goes, okay, well, I kind of want to fill up this, like, bottle of water. So, and then she pauses and goes, so I think I need, like, 6 to 8 cups of ice.
Oh my god.
And I just look at my manager in hopes that somebody fucking addresses this situation.
Someone
because,
please validate my sanity.
My manager just goes, no, hold on, and gives her, like, a large cup of ice, and, you know, explains to the lady that I'm just going by policy, right? And so
Right, yeah.
she just stands at our pickup window for, like, 5 whole minutes, and individually, each ice cube at a time, as Brooke says, whack-a-moles, whack-a-moles the ice into her water bottle.
I have no words. I have no words.
It was, and then she just took the cup with her and left, and I literally never saw her again. So
I don't even know what to, like, I'd love to be able to put my brain wherever her brain was at that day. But I can't do it. I can't. What was happening for her? She
so
was having
many
a
questions.
moment.
So
She was very determined, Brooke.
yeah, fucking bizarre.
This was like her beautiful mind moment. It was a mission. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was weird, dude. It was fucking
Weird.
bizarre. So, Brooke, if you will, take it away.
Oh, absolutely. I have told, I think, everybody I've ever known this story, and it's still, I think, my favorite story ever. This was also happening when I worked at DSW, and we have a sort of weird return policy. I say we have, like I still work there. Oh my god, I'm gonna break out in hives. They have a weird return policy where, like, the general guidelines are that if you've worn a shoe, you cannot return it. But generally speaking, if you come in and you're like, I wore this shoe once and it really hurt my feet, we're not gonna, like, tell you to go fuck yourself, you know? So,
We're not going to.
yeah, I'm not going to specifically. Because
No,
I
I'm
still
saying
work
you're still
there,
speaking in the
apparently.
present tense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I live in an eternal hell. Oh, God. So, yeah, it's weird. And it's sort of at the discretion of the person working. So, you know, you can just make the call for yourself. However, there was a woman who came in, she got to the front counter and she was like, I want to make a return. And it's our policy to open the box, look at the shoe, make sure that the shoes actually are the ones that are listed on the front of the box, appraise whether they're damaged, and then, you know, figure out why they want them returned at all. So I did all that. I looked. It was a left and right shoe. It was a sandal in a box for boots. And that was, like, my first thing, my first red flag. My second red flag was that these sandals, they were high heels, She said she had lost the box, but the high heels themselves had been worn, and not just worn, but like the little nib that's at the end of high heels was so worn away that it was cutting into the shoe itself. And then like the bottom, the sole of the shoe, it was just, there was no traction on it anymore. It had been worn hundreds of times, probably for the better part of like months. And I look at this woman and I like giggled a little because I was like, what? No, absolutely not. This is a joke. You're kidding. And I was like, okay, well, and you know, you have to do your customer service voice and act like what's happening isn't the most ludicrous shit you've ever seen. And I was like, actually, I cannot return these because they've been worn. And she said, I've worn them once. And I was like, did you walk through lava? Where were you walking?
Were you going to Mordor to defeat?
You wore these fashionable tan strappy sandals. You went mountain climbing, my dude. Like, I don't.
I'm sorry. Do you have a friend named Frodo and Sam that you went on a quest with? I don't really understand what's happening here.
And she's just staring at me like, do the fucking return. And we had this little like silent standoff where I was trying to like dare myself to push it further, but like just the obstinance on this woman's face, I wasn't gonna get anywhere. So of course I was like, I'm sorry, but these are so damaged that we can't restock these. Our return policy is, part of it is that we have to be able to put it in the sale rack. We cannot sell these to other people. We can't take these shoes. Like, we can throw them away for you.
Right.
But like, we can't give you your full money back. This is ridiculous. And she's like, she of course demands to speak to my manager. At which point I realized, right. At which point I was like, oh great, you know, he's gonna come over and be like, oh yes, we'll take these returns, of course. You are the customer and my nose is in your asshole. But like, you know, because that's how it is, and I get it. Yeah. It's annoying, but I get it. And he walks over and he's like, what seems to be the problem? And I explain the situation, and then she re-explains the situation because customers. And and he opens the box and he goes, huh. No. And she's like, excuse me? And he goes, yeah, no, these have obviously been worn hundreds of times.
Yes.
And I cannot do a return for you. I will give you a coupon and throw these away for you as a service, but do not do this again. We will not be returning your shoes. And at that point, I just left because I didn't wanna. So, I don't know if she took the coupon, if she raised any more ridiculousness, but, that was the one and only time I think when a manager at DSW actually, like, came to my defense and was like, oh, yes, no, you're a crazy person, get out of my store, please. It was wild. That's just, they were so bad. I cannot overstate how insanely awful these shoes were. Like, they were in such rough shape. They were dirty.
Are you telling me that just because I hike Everest in a pair of shoes that I cannot return them?
How dare you? Yeah, no, she was ready to breathe fire because I wasn't about to take her weird scammy thing.
Then she puts on the ring and she turns invisible.
Right. No, yeah, I guess she never made it to Mordor. That's why she had to return the shoes. They just weren't good enough.
Damn.
God damn.
Oh,
yeah,
God,
it was
Brianna.
Insane. Your turn.
Brianna.
Deep sigh.
So, I have one, and her name, I know her name.
Maybe
I'm not going to use her real name. Yeah. We're just going to refer to her as
Jessica is a good one.
It's the perfect
Jessica
name.
or Sashimi Lady.
Sashimi Lady.
Okay,
I love this story.
Oh no.
I think you called me, you were like yelling. You were
So, I was at the sushi place, and my boss did this really cute thing where he would take a nap during his break, and no one could disturb him. So that was it was my time to shine, right? I basically had, like, full responsibility over the front of the store, and he would usually do this at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so it really wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I got a call, and I went, "Thank you for calling, insert company's name here. How could I help you today?" And then she went, "Hi, I was just wondering if, like, I could get, like, a couple rolls of sushi. Like, when do you guys do sushi there?" And I was like,
God. It's a
I was
sushi
like,
restaurant.
yeah, and I was like, "Yes, we do sushi here, ma'am." Like, and she went, "Oh, okay, cool. I just, like, have a party that, like, I have to serve a lot of people for. So I was wondering if I could do, like, something with that." And I went, well, we have, like, sashimi platters and sushi plates that you can, like, order. And that, you know, it serves a large group of people. And she was like, "Oh, okay, perfect. Let's just do that." And she was like, "I want a tuna sashimi plate, and then I want a salmon sashimi plate." I went, "Perfect." And she went, "Can you name the other sashimi that you guys have, or the other fish that are available?" And I was like, "Sure, ma'am." So we have shrimp, albacore, tuna, sashimi, and then I said octopus, squid, and I think there was, like, one other one.
I love that you still
okay.
know it.
Yeah.
PTSD.
And so she goes, "Oh, okay, well, do you guys have, like, urchin?" And I went, "No, you know, ma'am, those are the fish that I named are the ones we have." And she went, "Oh, okay, cool. Would you guys have, like, this random other fish?" And I was like,
Oh my God.
"No, ma'am, the ones I have named for you are the ones I had." So this went on for 3 more times, to the point where I said, "Ma'am, these are the fish we have available. I cannot do any other fish for you." And she went, "Okay, so I'm just going to take the salmon and then the tuna sashimi plate." And I went, "Okay."
Perfect.
So I ring her up, and I went, "Anything else for you today, ma'am?" Which was a mistake.
Okay.
So then I went, and she went, "Yeah, what type of rolls do you guys have?" So, quick tidbit about our menu. We have over 46 rolls.
Oh, God. You should have just named 3 and just been like, "That's all. We only have those."
Yeah. And so then she was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Yeah, we have over 46 different selection of sushi rolls." And she goes, "Okay, can you describe them for me?"
No, I cannot.
So around 24.
Oh my God.
I'm at the crunch roll, right? Because I know it's like 24. I think it was actually 29 or 26, but I know it was in the 20s. It was in the late 20s, right? And so I was describing it, and she went, "Well, so on the outside, it says that it has tempura crumbs."
What?
And I went, "What?" And she went, "On the I'm looking on your menu online, and on the outside, it says it has tempura." And I went,
Reeling.
And I went, "Ma'am, you're looking at the menu online?" She went, "Yeah." And I went, "Well, I'm reading off verbatim what the menu says online." She went, "Yeah, it's just, like, sometimes, you know, like, you'll know because, like, you worked there and, like, you have, like, a better understanding of the menu." And I was like,
Oh my God.
"I've been reading verbatim
Off the menu.
off the menu." And she went, "Well, like, what rolls do you recommend?" And I went, "I recommend the snowdrop roll and the baked lobster roll, ma'am, because those were the 2 most expensive on the menu." And so then she went, "Okay, I'm going to have 2 of each." And I went, "Okay, so you're going to have
Excellent.
2 baked lobster, 2 snowdrop," and as I was saying this menu items back to her, she went, "Slow down." And I went, "Right.
I would have just
2
snapped
baked
right then and
lobster
there.
roll, 2 snowdrop, and then the 2 sashimi platters. This is your total. Is that going to be all for you today?" And she went, "Yes." And I went, "Okay. It will be ready for you in 20 minutes. She went, "Okay." Click, hung up the phone. At which point, I told my sushi chef to make the sushi.
No, it's not over. I can tell it's not over.
To which I get a call back 5 minutes later from her saying, Hi. So I just like called and I went, yeah, I recognize your voice.
Oh no.
And I was like, is there something you wanted to change about your order? And she went, I'm just gonna cancel it.
Oh god.
Because it's a little bit too pricey. And I was like, okay. All right, ma'am, not a problem. Well, thank you for calling in. She went, yeah, sorry about all the trouble. And I went, it's fine. Thank you for calling in.
You know, you
Please
lied
get off
like
the
a
phone.
liar.
Right. And
Like
then
a
so
liar.
I hung up, went to the back, and went, hey guys, you need to cancel that order. And they're like, Bree, what did you do? And I was like, I've done nothing
didn't
wrong.
do anything.
This
you
woman
had
is
a
fucking
day.
bad shit. I'm gonna cry. And so they were like, okay. And so they start like, you know, disassembling the order so they can use it for other sushi.
Mm-hmm.
And then 15 minutes later, guess who comes walking in?
Jessica. Jessica comes walking in.
I need
Jessica
a nap.
comes walking in. Yeah, and so then she goes, hi, I'm here to pick up my order. And I
Fuck
recognize
you.
her voice.
Fuck you. Get out of my store. Fuck you.
I went, I'm the one you talked to over the phone, ma'am. She went, oh yeah, hi. And I went, you canceled your order.
Honey, I don't know how
She
to
went-
tell you this.
And she went, no. And I went, ma'am, you canceled your order. And she went, I canceled the rolls. I didn't cancel the sashimi plate.
No,
Like, it's kind of common sense. I guess you would assume that. But, like, I guess there was a miscommunication.
No. No.
To which at that point, I turned to my sushi chefs, looked at him, and he just started making it and just shook his head. And I went, okay, well, we're fixing that for you right now. I'm going to get my manager. And she was like, yeah, I was just going to ask for one. To which I
Oh
went,
my god.
okay. So I went to the back. I woke up my boss, and I said, I'm never taking this woman's order again. I went through the directory, looked up her phone number, and said, if this number ever calls, you're taking it. I'll memorize it.
Oh,
And he was like, okay. And he went, is this something that I need to come out for? And I went, she wants to speak to you.
so yeah.
And then he was like, just tell her I'm not available right now. And I went, okay. So I basically got my manager. He didn't want to deal with it. So I went back out front, grabbed the sushi for her, handed her sushi, and went, ma'am, here's your sushi, you know. She went, how long have you been working here?
Always an innocuous
went-
question.
And I went, 2 months, man. And she went, you know, it's fine. When you're new, like, you're still learning and everyone makes mistakes. And then she turned her ass around and walked out of the store.
I have never wanted to retroactively punch someone so bad.
I could not believe that happened to me.
Yeah,
that's
that
like that's
sounds
out of a
about right.
sitcom. That's insane.
But it happens.
Sure did.
It happens to good people.
Should make an infomercial.
Well,
Every day,
Fuck that woman.
innocent
this
customer service employees are abused by their customers.
And
Yeah,
deal
sounds
with
about right.
absolute
For real.
bullshit.
Set against Sarah McLachlan's In the Arms of an Angel.
Yeah. It's just me
Somebody do
desperately
that,
on my
please.
break, sitting in a corner on a milk crate, trying to get some form of reality, eating a Velveeta mac and cheese.
just eating the block of Velveeta.
Oh, it's sad.
Guys, I
but
feel like that was
true.
good. We are wrapping it up. We're at the end of our time. We didn't get to all the questions, but I feel like we could make another mini-sode with like all the shit
Oh god,
that
there's
we
so
haven't
much.
covered.
There's so
We
much.
didn't even get to skin flute today.
Oh.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, we'll bring that. We'll do another one of these
Bring
because
that
this is
back
fun.
around.
Ugh.
But as for now,
Jesus.
thank you for tuning in. Very, very much appreciated. If you could give us a like and review on iTunes, we would very much appreciate it. It really helps us out with their algorithm. They essentially only recommend us if we have like a lot of reviews. Big, big thanks to everybody that has. It's a really big deal. We really appreciate it. We read them all. A couple people have given us ideas for more topics to do.
Yes.
Send in suggestions.
Yes, if you want to send
Super
in
cool.
suggestions, tweet at TTK me up on Twitter, and maybe
Or
we'll...
DM us on the Instagram, which by the way,
Yes.
both of those are at TTK me up. pretty accessible. I'm on it all the time. We post updates about the show, little tidbits. It's cute. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
We love you. We're your best
Signing
friends
off.
now.
I got nothing else to say. It's been real, guys.
Sure has.
All right, deuces.
See ya.
Bye. Sorry. Bye.